Hello again. Today I thought we'd take a look at some modulation effects. Modulation effects are things like chorus, phaser and flanger. What they do, they take the signal, the sound as it's coming into the pedal, they modulate it and then mix that with the basic guitar signal to give you an affected sound. If you're interested in the science behind how modulation works, take a look on Google or Wikipedia or something and you should find something that explains it. Really all I'm interested in doing today is listen to the sound side of things, rather than explaining the science behind it all. Okay, what I'll do is start off by just playing what you could call a dry signal. This is the signal without any modulation effect added. Then I'll dial in one of the effects and that would give us what we'll call a wet signal. And I'll give you an idea first off of how a chorus sounds. We'll start off, as I say, with dry signal, then I'll punch in my normal chorus settings, and then play around with the controls and you can hear some of the sort of extremes that you can get out of it. Okay, so that's chorus. It's probably the most subtle of the modulation effects, although as you heard there you can kind of dial in some more extreme sounds. The next one we'll take a listen to is the phaser. This is a bit more pronounced than chorus. What I'll do again is I'll just start off with a dry signal, then punch in a fairly, what I consider to be a normal phaser setting, and then play around with the controls and let you hear some of the sort of extremes that we can get. Okay, so that's the phaser. Last effect we're going to take a listen to is the flanger effect. This takes its name from the old reel-to-reel tape recorders. One day somebody discovered in a studio that if they put the finger on the flange of the tape as it was going around, it affected the speed of the tape, and that had quite an interesting effect on the sound. And what the flanger effect does is it mimics that in an effects pedal or a digital effects unit. So what I'll do now, same as before, dry signal, then a fairly middle of the road flanger, and then we'll dial in a few of the more extreme settings to give you an idea of the sort of things that are available. examples we've heard so far have been using a clean sound, but those effects do work equally well, I think, with an overdriven or a distorted sound. So what I'll do now to give you a bit of an idea of those in that sort of context and keep the rock guys happy, I'll start off with a basic dirty sound, then punch in some chorus, then a bit of phaser and a flanger, and you can hear how they sound with an overdriven signal. Okay, so that's the effect being used with a dirty signal. One thing that's important to point out is the order that these things are used in. If your amplifier has got an effects loop on it, then use that for the modulation effects. The chorus, phaser, flanger, pedals, they need to go on the send return effects loop. If you're using them just in chaining them up and straight into the clean channel, put your overdrives and your distortion pedals first, then put your modulation effects. Modulating on a dirty signal sounds okay, but distorting a modulated effect sounds pretty rubbish. You might want to experiment and see what it sounds like, but really to be usable you need those effects coming after any overdrive or distortion. Okay. Think about how you use effects. When you're new to an effect, it's quite easy just to turn the control knob up just that little bit too far. Think about how you want the effect to be used. Are you wanting something that's just going to colour the sound, or are you actually wanting something that's you want to make the sound from the effect as like a feature in what you're doing? As you get used to the sound of the different effects, if you listen to CDs and MP3s and of your favourite bands, you should be able to start to recognise, oh, they're using a subtle chorus, or that's an extreme flange effect, or whatever. Just use your ears and listen for these different effects when they're being used. Ways that I like to use them personally, I love to add a little bit of chorus onto a clean signal. I just think it makes it more interesting. I use that quite a lot, the clean sound with the chorus. Something else I quite like is if I'm playing, say, two guitar parts, having one of the rhythm parts with a bit of chorus or a very subtle flanger effect, and then the other guitar running dry. That makes the sound a lot bigger. Also really helps to separate, so like the rhythm from the lead. If you have the rhythm guitar playing with the slight modulation effect, and then the dry signal for the lead, it just gives you a bit more separation, and I find that works quite well. If you experiment, you might find that a dry rhythm pattern with a wet lead sound works better for you. Just personal preference, experiment and see what works best for you. Okay, so there's a quick introduction to those modulation effects. I hope you found that useful. I'm hoping to do some more tutorials soon about the other effects that are available, and I hope to see you in one of those sometime soon. Bye for now.